Welcome. Welcome to Udaipur, land of the Rajas, nestled in northern India, in Rajasthan, Udaipur. In the background you can see the monsoon palace of the Maharaj, the local leader and ruler of Udaipur. Look at this place. Take a look around. Towering turrets, beautiful domes, carvings, marble, alabaster, wonderful gardens, pools, and all of this in the beautiful surrounds of mountains. To be here is to understand something of the Book of Shmot, the power of Pharaoh. For this place, what is this place about if not authority, power, influence, that sense of entitlement, that sense of the world belongs to me. That, of course, is what Pharaoh was all about. Let's think about it. Pharaoh was a man who believed totally, absolutely in himself. He believed that his power was given to him by the divine God, by the sun god himself, that he himself was the sun god. That once a king, always a king. Once a pharaoh, always a pharaoh. Once a slave, always a slave. What Moshe did was to challenge the very concept, the very premise on which Egypt had based itself, the very concept of Pharaoh himself. For Moshe came along and said to him, no, freedom is something gifted to us by God. And the first national liberation movement was that of the Jewish people. Ever since the Exodus, said Heinrich Heine, freedom has had a Hebrew accent. Pharaoh did not see things quite that way. For we are told with the 10th plague, the final of the plagues, the most awful of the plagues, Makata Bechorot, the death of the firstborn, the Torah says to us that Pharaoh went to sleep the night before. Can you imagine that? Pharaoh went to sleep. He believed so totally and implicitly in himself that he was not even worried that maybe this plague, after the other 10, that this plague would also come to event, would also eventuate. And that allows us to understand a rather enigmatic comment of Rashi, where Rashi says, Pharaoh got up that night, and Rashi says, mi mitato, from his bed. In other words, Pharaoh was sound asleep. He thought, despite everything that had happened, God would not be able to challenge his right to power, his right to influence, his right to be the king. To understand the book of Shmot is to understand also the audacity of Moshe. For Moshe was brought up in the same kind of surroundings with power and money and influence and authority. Moshe gave that all up for the call of a God who came to him in the wilderness, the call of the God from the bush. The power of the Maharajas was only brought to an end by independence of India, and it was cemented by Indira Gandhi, who removed so much of the wealth of the local Maharajas. The power of Pharaoh ended with Moshe and the 10 plagues. That was quite a feat. Shabbat Shalom.